This is the news leader, ABC-7 Eyewitness News.
And at 6 o'clock, good evening to you. I'm Liz Chow.
And I'm Bill Ritter. We begin with a crackdown on drinking at the New York Fire Department. And tonight, 2 veteran fire department officers suspended without pay for allegedly drinking at a bar last night, drinking while they were on duty. The suspensions, the latest in a series of alcohol-related incidents involving the fire department. Stacey Sager at the bar in question in the East Village for us tonight. Stacey?
Well, Bill, in this case, their job was actually to inspect this bar, but instead, witnesses say these 2 fire officers sat in here right next to a window drinking Bud Lights in uniform, that they even sang karaoke, Bruce Springsteen's Born to Run, until it was so obvious they got caught. It happened just after 8 o'clock last night here at Karaoke Sing Sing, a bar on the Lower East Side. And it comes only days after Fire Commissioner Nicholas Scoppetta warned officers and firefighters not to drink on the job.
That's absolutely prohibited.
But according to this bar's manager, Lieutenant Robert Doherty and Captain Terrence Walsh walked in here, first asking for the bar's certificate of occupancy, which is currently unavailable.
They came in around 7:50, and when I got called around 8:30, from my staff, they already got a beer in their hand.
Beer, which was on special, but apparently the officers didn't even have to pay for it.
I instructed my staff that whatever they want, give them and don't charge them. I believe that they have at least 4 beer and
in uniform.
In uniform.
And right near a window where he says it was so obvious, passers-by outside alerted authorities. The whole thing only days after the fire department tried to crack down on this sort of thing. Earlier this month, here at a firehouse in East Harlem, where inspectors found liquor and 2 firefighters tested positive for drugs. And here in Staten Island, where alcohol may have played a role in a firehouse brawl, this firefighter beaten with a chair. And now Fire Commissioner Nicholas Scoppetta calling the latest flap especially disturbing in light of this warning.
We're not saying that you can't have a drink on your own time. Of course you can. You can't drink on duty and you can't have it in the firehouse.
And in this case, witnesses say the fire officers were even more bold than that.
They asked if they can sing, so we gave
They
them.
also want to do karaoke.
They sang like 2 songs.
Now, as we mentioned, their job was actually the inspection of this bar. The 2 fire officers were part of the fire department's public assembly unit. Lieutenant Doherty, a 15-year veteran, and Captain Walsh with the department for 19 years. Both of the officers now suspended without pay, their union not returning several calls today. We're live in the East Village. I'm Stacey Sager, ABC-7 Eyewitness News.
Stacey, thank you. We have some breaking news to tell you about. It's happening in Queens, where there are reports of manhole cover explosions. Shannon Sohn is above the scene in Newscopter 7. Shannon.
Yeah, Liz, you are looking down at Crescent Street, right between Ditmars Boulevard and 21st Street. Now, as we bring the camera in here, you'll see the smoke coming up from one of these manholes that just exploded in the last 10 or 15 minutes. But this has been an ongoing problem throughout the night. Now, what is happening here? These manholes are popping. The fire is extending into electrical panels in 2 of the apartment buildings along Crescent Street. 21-70 and 21-62 are the buildings that are being affected. Now, because of that, the fire department has been forced to evacuate 30 apartments within those 2 buildings. And as we bring you down towards Ditmars Boulevard, you will see several people in the street. Only 1 injury here, though, and that is said to be nausea. Reporting live over the Ditmars section of Queens alongside Captain Arthur Anderson, Shannon Sohn, ABC-7 Eyewitness News.
Glad to hear there are no serious injuries. Shannon, thank you. An emotional day today for friends and family members of Timothy Stansbury. Hundreds of mourners, including Mayor Bloomberg, attended his funeral today. This as a grand jury in Brooklyn began investigating the police shooting that killed the unarmed 19-year-old. Marcus Solis is in downtown Brooklyn, where the grand jury is convening tonight with more. Marcus?
Well, Liz, evidence was presented to the grand jury today, though the district attorney's office declined to say whether or not witnesses testified. Nevertheless, they are the first steps in determining whether criminal charges will be filed against the officer. It's been less than a week since Timothy Stansbury was shot to death by police, and the search for answers is racing ahead. It took only hours for the police commissioner to speak out about it.
There appears to be no justification for the shooting.
Now the district attorney has impaneled a grand jury that met today for the first time. It will decide whether criminal charges will be filed against Officer Richard Neary. The 11-year veteran was on vertical patrol in the Louis Armstrong houses early Saturday when he came across Stansbury and his friends on the roof. Neary and his partner had their guns drawn as per police procedure, which is now under review.
The gun was discharged because he had some kind of fear, that out of that fear, it wasn't a matter of hold or halt. It wasn't a matter of stay where you are. It wasn't a matter of securing the perimeter. It was a matter of let me discharge in order to save my life.
Stansbury's life was remembered today, memorialized during a 2-hour funeral service attended by hundreds, including Mayor Bloomberg. The 19-year-old was eulogized as a hardworking young man who held down a job while trying to earn his high school degree. While tears were shed over the premature loss of life, there was a repeated demand for answers.
The sooner we get to the truth of this matter, the sooner he gets before the grand jury, the sooner we move forward on this, the better it will be in terms of justice, and that's the most important thing that we're seeking right now.
Well, a member of the officer's legal team says the determination has not been made whether Officer Neary will testify before the grand jury. That panel will reconvene next week. And we're live in downtown Brooklyn. Marcus Solis, ABC-7 Eyewitness News.
Marcus, thank you. We're following some breaking news in South Florida tonight. As we first showed you on Eyewitness News at 5, rescue workers now frantically working to free a construction worker trapped in a ditch that quickly filled with water. These are live pictures from the scene. The man has been stuck for about 3 hours now between a boulder and that large sewer pipe you see in the upper right-hand corner. This is happening in Parkland, Florida. It's just north of Fort Lauderdale. Several pipes have been set up to vacuum the water out of the ditch and try to keep it away from the man's head. The man has been wearing an oxygen mask to help him breathe. You can see some scuba divers there and rescue workers. We're going to have more on this story. We're going to follow developments. Hopefully they'll get that guy out soon. After 10 years of legal wrangling, more than 175 lawsuits in the 1993 World Trade Center bombing will finally go to trial. The Eyewitness News investigators told us last year how families and businesses have struggled to sue the Port Authority, sue them for negligence in the deadly bombing that killed 6 people and injured 1,000. They claimed that the Port Authority ignored its own intelligence that the World Trade Center was a terrorism target. 6 people died in the blast, as we say, and 1,000 were injured. And we have an update tonight on those $8 billion worth of Liberty bonds that we told you about last night. The bonds are to rebuild areas in New York City that were hit hard by the 9/11 attacks. The special tax-free bonds, as we told you yesterday, that program runs out at the end of the year. But tonight, the White House announcing that it will propose extending the program for 5 years. New York so far has sold only about a quarter of the $8 billion in bonds allowed under that program. Liz?
There is an intense search underway at this hour for a sexual predator police say assaulted at least 1 man and 2 women on the Upper East Side. The attacks happened in the last week, the latest just this morning when police say the suspect fondled and tried to rob a 24-year-old woman on the Upper East Side. Yesterday, a 25-year-old man was robbed and sexually assaulted. And on Tuesday, police say the suspect forced an 18-year-old college student to withdraw money from her ATM and then sexually assaulted her inside her apartment. The suspect's description is 25 to 30 years old, 5'10" and 175 pounds.
If we told you there was a check for $5,500 waiting for you, you'd probably call us right now and demand to know where to pick it up. Well, don't call. We're going to tell you where to pick it up. Nearly 250,000 New Yorkers may each be owed nearly $5,500 in a federal income tax refund program that they don't even know about. Here's Art McFarland.
At the not-for-profit agency called Alianza, the usual community services are taking a back seat to counseling on the Earned Income Tax Credit.
What would you use the money for?
Oh, yes, I use it for my family, my 2 babies.
By unofficial count, more than 230,000 New Yorkers are now eligible.
If you don't owe any taxes because you make so little amount of money, so you don't file, you won't get the Earned Income Tax Credit. You have to file your income tax in order to get the refund.
Under the Earned Income Tax Credit, families with 2 or more children that earned less than $34,692 last year could qualify for up to $5,465 back. Families with 1 child that earned less than $30,666 in 2003 could get up to $3,311, and couples ages 25 to 64 who do not have children and earn less than $12,230 could get up to $496. Last year, qualified New Yorkers received an average of $2,354.
If all 230,000 people, in fact, knew to ask and applied for the Earned Income Tax Credit, it could mean $540 million into the city's economy.
The city is publicizing the tax credit with the phrase, "It's your money, come and get it." If you are eligible, you can get it, and for information on how to do that, you're advised to call the city's helpline at 311. In Washington Heights, Art McFarland, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Wow, free money out there for people.
Sounds good.
Just ahead on this Friday night, a bitter day at a sweet company. Coming up, the final shift for workers of a landmark sugar refinery. It is shutting its door in Brooklyn tonight after nearly 150 years.
And in tonight's Extra, yes, it has been a lousy winter, and yes, we have seen a whole lot of snow. But what else is causing our salt shortage this year? We'll tell you. For more than a century, it has remained a fixture on the East River in Brooklyn, but today was a bitter one for 200 employees who worked at the Domino sugar plant. After 148 years, it is closing tonight, and for its employees, it is more than just losing a job. They say they're losing what has become their family. Here's Kimberly Richardson.
What do you remember about your first day on the job?
My daughter was born that day. Yeah, very excited day.
A day for beginnings. Melvin Jackson walked into the Domino sugar plant 30 years ago. At the time, 500 people worked here, a number that has dwindled to about 200. He's seen the best and now the worst of times.
Well, I could walk around and mope, but that ain't the way it should be done, I don't think.
The imposing brick building with its signature neon sign opened in 1856. New York was the nation's #1 sugar producer. But things have slowed down over the decades. Sugar is increasingly being replaced with other sweeteners, resulting in a deep dip in production.
More than half my life is spent here.
Walter Sterling started here working the docks, unloading raw sugar from boats. He made it through the not-so-good times, including a bitter strike, but still has fond memories of the factory.
It was a very prestigious place, and anywhere you go, you hear about Domino Sugar.
The American Sugar Refining Corporation bought the plant in 2001. Workers were optimistic, but then came news of a shutdown, and many felt the owners broke a promise.
They said they're here, they're going to take care of us, and I guess this is the way they take care of people.
Some believe the closing is a business move, a way to free up this priceless waterfront property.
I've seen it go from ghetto up until today's, where it's almost, you can go a couple blocks up and you think you're on the French Riviera there, with people eating outside in cafes and stuff like that.
The company reportedly plans to move to its other lower-cost plants. Melvin does have one regret. His father of 3 was just 2.5 years away from retiring.
But that's all right, you know. I mean, hey, life's just that way.
He sees it as yet another beginning. In Williamsburg, Kimberly Richardson, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
I understand the sign is staying up there.
Yes, it is.
Sign, so
yes, it is. Might be turned into condos, that area, too.
Sad day, though.
Yeah.
Just ahead, rubbing salt, literally, into our wounds.
Another downfall from all this snow, a major salt shortage. But this nasty winter weather isn't all to blame. It's tonight's Extra, and it's coming up next.
Hot chili, hot cheese dip. I just wanted to say something nice, and then your forecast is on its way.
It's no secret, with more than 2 feet of snow so far this winter, we are not lacking in the severe weather department. What is a secret, though, is that we are lacking in salt to melt all that snow. In fact, in many cities, towns, and villages, officials are worrying about what they call a salt shortage. With tonight's Extra, here's Tim Fleischer.
Working around the clock, they are unloading enough salt from the ship to fill 1,300 dump trucks here in Port Newark. Salt for the roads that is in short supply in the tri-state area when needed the most during this harsh winter.
The shortage is because the older ships that they're taking out of commission, they're not replacing them with new ships. So we're having trouble getting the freighters to go down into Chile to pick up the salt.
So when a load comes in, Tom Vaughan's TEV trucking company must unload it as fast as they can to get out to communities like White Plains affected by the short supplies.
We've gotten deliveries of about 500 over the last 3 weeks, but
that's not really enough for us to cope with a 6 or an 8-inch snowstorm.
There is plenty of salt in the mines in Chile where International Salt gets its shipments. But most of the ships that would normally be used are heading elsewhere.
A lot of steel and scrap metal and everything is going into China, and they're tying up a lot of our ships.
Another reason for the shortage is the high demand for salt during this harsh winter. Just to give you an idea, this entire area was covered back in September with 600,000 tons of salt. It's been used up.
Albany, we were there last week. We sent a whole caravan of tractor trailers up, 7 trucks, made 2 trips to get 300 tons of salt. So we're that much in need of it.
White Plains is now waiting for more, and 2 larger ships are expected in Port Newark next week, hopefully easing the shortage.
After these ships and the next ship we have coming in, then the pressure will be off, and then we can start getting them built up to where they feel comfortable again.
As long as the salt arrives before the next round of snow and ice. Reporting from Port Newark, Tim Fleischer, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
So who knew that?
I wish we could say we don't need any more salt.
Yeah, I'd like to say that too.
Can you say that?
That's not the case, is it?
Well, there's some good.
That's a no, sir.
That's a no. I can't say that.
You can say that we'll be above 32.
Yes, and there is some good news because the long-range forecasts are showing that big Arctic pocket that's been sitting over us being displaced a bit back toward Canada over the next week, and we'll get temperatures in the 30s. There's some good news.
Yeah.
I have to beg for it these days, but there it is. Outside, clear skies, and we are in for another cold night and a cold day on Saturday. The better news is that after that Saturday temperature, there's some milder air just kind of focusing its way back in here. 22 degrees outside right now, relative humidity of 40%, the barometer rising at this point. Our pattern is for a dry weekend, and then early next week, some more moisture will try to move in, but hopefully temperatures will be milder and we won't be accumulating as much snow with a system that comes in by Monday night into Tuesday. West winds anywhere from 9 to 13 miles per hour, 24-14 the split on the day. Let's take a look at your overnight wind chills, and 5 below, 10 below is kind of the average across the area, particularly for northern areas. The rest of us will be hovering near 5 below overnight tonight. Real numbers right now, 12, 21 degrees in northern areas, hovering right around that 20-degree mark in a lot of locations. But where those skies open up and clear, those numbers will drop off. You saw the difference between 12 degrees and 21 degrees, even in the Hudson Valley. So area by area, as soon as those clouds open up, we really will start to drop with these temperatures. 6-9 degrees, northern numbers right through the middle of the region, anywhere from 14-15 degrees. Newark, your overnight low temperature is 11 degrees. Find the clouds all the way down in the southeast, so Florida not the destination this weekend, but Texas hangs on to fairly dry skies. Houston, where all eyes are for Sunday. Scotty? 67 degrees. Not a bad day. There will be 1 or 2 showers around the area in Houston by Sunday probably, but just some light and scattered stuff is the way we see it right now. Our skies open up to dry skies overnight, but it's still brisk and cold. Remember, that system that passed just to our south didn't bring us any snow like it did Washington in that area, but it did reinforce the colder air for tonight and tomorrow. And then there's milder air. Mostly clear, very cold, 14 degrees on the temperature tonight. It is another cold night. Clouds and sun, cold and windy, 26 degrees for tomorrow. And quick, let's move on so we can get to the warmer air. There it is, mostly clear, brisk and cold. It's 18 degrees tomorrow night. All right, that wasn't the best news, though, on the 5-day. We can do better than that. 32, 38, 36, 38. And so this storm system that moves in Monday night and Tuesday probably is on a wetter edge. Now, we'll have to keep an eye on it for ice, but we'll watch it carefully.
Bring on 38.
All right.
Thanks, Sam.
We've been practicing.
It's back. It wouldn't be a Super Bowl without an appearance from the Predictable. Plus, coming up on Eyewitness News, the Rangers look ahead to life on the ice without Eric Lindros. And it's Friday night. You'll go for a balancing act in the desert that is just out of this world.
Wanted to check into Fort Lauderdale, Parkland, Florida, north of Fort Lauderdale. That worker trapped in a ditch that is filled with water. As you can see, they're trying to get him out. He is stuck between a pipe and a boulder. He's been there for about 3 hours. We are going to continue to follow this, and we'll have the latest tonight on Eyewitness News at 11. Hopefully, he will be out by then. Are they doing something? No? Yeah, they're still trying to get him. Okay. We're going to move on to sports, and Scott Clark begins with the Rangers.
Yes, beginning life again without Eric Lindros tonight when they host Buffalo. The Blue Shirts held their pregame skate this morning without their most productive player. Lindros suffered the 8th concussion of his career Wednesday night against Washington. There's still no official word on when he may return.
You know, it's going to be day to day. We have to see how he reacts in the next 48 hours. And then we'll make another determination at that time. We can't replace Eric really with anyone, so someone's just going to have to be able to play and spend more time on the ice.
Now, the Knicks head to Boston with some injury concerns of their own. Allen Houston is most probably out until after the All-Star game. Houston's surgically repaired right knee is giving him problems, and the team expects that he will miss at least the 7 games preceding the break. It'll be Kim Clijsters versus Justine Henin-Ardenne in the ladies' final at the Australian Open tonight here in America, which is already Saturday in Australia. On the men's side, Roger Federer has moved into the finals by defeating Juan Carlos Ferrero. 6-4, 6-1, 6-4. Ferrer will face Marat Safin in the final. Win or lose, Federer will become the men's #1 player for the first time. Folks, final preparations for Super Bowl 38 are taking place in Houston. The players are no longer available, but head coaches Bill Belichick and John Fox took the obligatory photo with the championship trophy today.
It's a challenge. I mean, everybody in this league is the best at what they do in the world. So you deal with a lot of competent coaches, a lot of competent players, and this won't be anything different.
Team's excited. We're looking forward to the challenge of playing the Panthers. What happened in the past and what could be going on in the future really is irrelevant.
So now comes that moment in time when mystical footballs fly through the air. Yes? It is time for Predictable to appear. The Super Bowl and the Super Bowl, with Patriots and Panthers aplenty, many similarities between the two. But this one comes down to coaches and quarterbacks, and therein lies the rub of the globe. Predictable states, Patriots 27, Panthers 17. Now fly away, Patriots and Panthers 2. Predictable has destiny for you. Finally, Friday night, it's that special time again. Time to hitch your sports wagons to the ever-loving stars and show you all sorts of international sports that are just out of this world. Get your motors running. We're going for the cycle of the Dakar Rally. It can leave you down on your Dakar or stuck in the sands of time, or just have you going whoop, 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 whoop all the way home. The heck with it. But some actually graduate through that granular obstacle and hightail it home on the Rooster Tail. Cock-a-doodle-doo. Next up, Austria we go. Yes, 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a buckle my shoe and a go, go, go. Stampede! It's the Mountain Attack cross-country ski marathon, and somebody needs a hanky. Up the hill they climb in this colossal 40-kilometer run. Top of the world, Ma! And then it's right back down again. And down the stretch they come into the night, and we've got a winner. Mwah! Finally, from Italy, grab a board and set sail. It's the European Snowboard Open. Oh, spin, 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 you sky-snatching, hero-hatching hordes of honorably discharged delights. You are
out of this world.
John Amarante, the voice of Madison Square Garden, is just out of this world. I'm Scott Clark. That's it for sports.
Very nice.
Thanks, Scotty.
Thanks, Scotty.
That's it for us for now. Thanks for watching. I'm Bill Ritter.
I'm Liz Cho. World News Tonight with Peter Jennings is coming up next. We'll see you tonight at 11 o'clock. Enjoy your evening.
Bye-bye.